Hello everyone. Here we are going to discuss about the super secondary structures. Many different kind of the secondary structures are going to interact one another and going to form the super secondary structures. For example, beta alpha beta motif. It is one of the common form of super secondary structure. And one more is the beta hairpin motif, which is consists of anti-parallel beta sheets, which are connected with the help of the tight reverse turns. And one more is alpha motif, and here in this case the two successive antiparallel helices are joined over here. And one more is a Greek key motif, and it is named after the ornamental design commonly used in ancient Greece. And here in this case the beta hairpin is folded over to form four stranded antiparallel beta sheet. And here these are the some of the super secondary structure, and the first one is the beta alpha beta. So here it is the beta sheet, which is connected with the help of the alpha helices, and the one more beta sheet, and it is the beta hairpin motif. And this one is the two helices, alpha alpha helix motif, and here which is connected with the help of the turn. And it is the Greek key motif, where the four strands, beta strands, are going to fold over here and going to form the Greek key. And here these are some of the super secondary structure. Now we are going to discuss about the tertiary structure of the protein. So here the tertiary structure means, so here it is nothing but the overall three-dimensional arrangement of all the atoms which are present in the proteins. And here in this case, the amino acids which are present far away from each other in the polypeptide chain, and they are present in the different type of secondary structures, are going to interact with one another within the completely folded structure of the protein. And here one more aspect in this case is the location of turns in the polypeptide chain, and the direction and the angle of these bends are majorly determined by the number and the location of specific bend producing residues such as proline, threonine, serine, and the glycine. So here these are the important amino acids. So here their places and their location and their number in the polypeptide chain. So here it is going to determine the position of the turns in the polypeptide chain. And here apart from this one, so here the tertiary structure of the proteins, it is majorly stabilized with the help of the several different kind of covalent and non-covalent interaction. And here the common feature of protein tertiary structure, it is going to reveal much more about the biological functions of the proteins and their evolutionary origins. And the function of a protein depends primarily on the tertiary structure, and if this is disrupted, means it is going to lose its activity. And here these are the different interactions which are going to stabilize the tertiary structure, which is nothing but the disulfide bonds, hydrophobic interaction, hydrogen bonds, ionic interaction, and van der Waals forces. And here the disulfide bond, it is one of the covalent interaction which is going to happen between the two cysteine residue in the polypeptide chain. So here the cysteine residues are having the sulfidal groups in its side chain. So here these sulfidal groups are undergo oxidation and going to form the disulfide linkage. So here the disulfide linked group, or the might, it is called as the cysteine. And here this interaction, it is one of the stabilizing interaction of the tertiary structure. And one more is the hydrogen bonding. And here the hydrogen bonding, it is happens between the, it is one of the weak band which is going to happens between the carbonyl oxygen and the amide hydrogen, or it may happen between the carbonyl oxygen, or between the alcoholic group, or in all these cases we are going to see the presence of the hydrogen bond. And one more is the ionic interaction with the help of the salt bridges. So here in the side chain, the oppositely charged groups in the amino acid residues are going to attract one another and going to form the ionic interaction, which is nothing but the salt bridges. For example, the ammonia, which is carrying the positive charge, whereas the carboxyl group which is carrying the negative charge. Here both of these groups may interact with one another and going to form the ionic bonds. And one more is the hydrophobic forces. So here some of the amino acid residues are having the non-polar side chain, and here these amino acids are going to repel the water molecules because it cannot able to form the interaction with the water molecule. So that here these non-polar side chains are going to interact the other non-polar side chains, and here it is going to form the hydrophobic interaction. And here it is very weak, but collective interaction over the large area, it is going to stabilize the tertiary structure of the protein. And here these are all the different kind of interactions as we discussed earlier, which are going to stabilize the tertiary structure of the protein. And here now we are going to discuss about the quaternary structure of the proteins. And here the quaternary structure of the protein, it is restricted to the some of the oligomeric proteins, where the proteins which are having the two or more separate polypeptide chains. So here the arrangement of these two or more separate polypeptide chains or subunits, we are going to call them as subunits, which may be identical or different subunits in the three-dimensional complexes. And here it is going to constitute the quaternary structure. And here and the quaternary structure also stabilized with the help of the variety of interactions, such as the hydrogen bonding soft bridges and the disulfide bridges, and which is going to hold the chains into a particular geometry. And here the quaternary structure, it is going to add stability by decreasing the surface volume ratio of the smaller subunit. The interactions within the multi-subunits are the same as that of the found, which is seen in the tertiary structure of the secondary structure. And here one more thing, the significance of the quaternary structure in this case is nothing but the, so here if any one of the polypeptide chain is denatured or it is get inactivated, means it can be replaced. So here instead of replacing the all the subunits, so here one of the subunit it might be replaced and with the new polypeptide chain. And one more significance of the quaternary structure is, so here it will be having many different kind of subunits, and here all these subunits they might be having the active sites. And here apart from this one, some of the active site in case of the certain enzymes is present in between the interfaces of the different subunits. So here in all those cases the formation of the quaternary structures plays an important role. Thank you.